It often occurs in the blink of an eye, a fraction of a second that feels like it stretches into eternity. You round a bend in the street, or you glance up from your phone in a crowded room, and suddenly, there they are. You're face to face with the narcissist after months, or perhaps even years of absolute silence and no contact. Your immediate biological instinct is to freeze in place. Your heart begins to hammer against your ribs, and your mind might be flooded with desperate questions. Do they feel any regret for losing me? Can they perceive how much I have healed and grown? But before you allow yourself to spiral down into that vortex of questioning, you need to fundamentally understand what is actually transpiring beneath the surface of this interaction. Through the analytical lens of Carl Jung, we understand that they are not looking at a former partner or a lost love. In truth, they are not even looking at a human being. They are gazing upon a source of psychic energy that dared to rebel and escape their control. In the depths of their unconscious mind, seeing you is not a reunion. It is a terrifying confrontation with their own shadow. Make sure you stay with me until the very end of this presentation, because I am going to deconstruct exactly what is occurring in their unconscious mind during this split second. I will provide you with a precise psychological strategy to ensure that this encounter does not break your progress, but rather finally sets you free. The narcissist's internal scan. Encountering the narcissist again after a long period of silence is not an emotional reunion. It is a psychological shock to the system. Your pulse quickens, your muscles tense, and for a fleeting moment your mind goes completely blank. You might instinctively wonder if they miss you, or if time has softened their perspective. These questions reveal something beautiful about your character. They demonstrate that your empathy is still intact. You're perceiving a human being with a history. You are honoring a bond you once believed was real. However, to protect your own psyche in this critical moment, you must understand one thing with absolute clarity. They are not viewing you through that same empathetic lens. When the narcissist lays eyes on you after a period of no contact, their brain does not access memories of intimacy, emotions, or accountability. Instead, it performs a rapid, cold, and instinctual internal scan, much like a computer reading a barcode. They are not pondering your healing or their longing. They're processing a single predatory thought. Can this object still be utilized? In that initial second, their judgment of you hinges entirely on two specific signals that your presence broadcasts to them. Are you in a state of suffering, or are you in a state of healed stability? These two states dictate every action that follows. If you appear fragile, if your eyes look tired, your smile feels forced, or you're vibrating with anxious energy, they do not feel a sense of guilt or remorse. On the contrary, they feel a wash of relief. Your visible pain serves as confirmation of their superiority and reinforces their delusion that discarding you was the correct decision. In their shadow-driven psychology, your suffering is interpreted as evidence that you were the weaker element and that abandoning you validated their inflated self-image. They view your struggle not as a consequence of their abuse, but as proof of their dominance. Conversely, if you appear strong, if your posture is calm, your presence is grounded, and you clearly have a life that is moving forward, their internal reaction shifts instantly. They do not feel admiration or respect for your resilience. They feel hunger. To the narcissist, your stability looks like fuel. Your radiant glow looks like energy they desire to extract. Your peace appears as a resource they want to repossess. This is exactly why you must never mistake a sudden warm smile, a soft tone of voice, or a burst of charm for genuine emotion, it is not affection, it is an attempt at acquisition. In their unconscious mind, you have transformed into a fully recharged battery, and they are assessing whether they can plug back into your life force. This truth is painful to accept, but it is ultimately liberating. Their reaction is not about who you are as a person today. It is entirely about what they require in this specific moment. If they respond with contempt, they are projecting their own inferiority. If they respond with desire, they are attempting to re-establish access to your energy. Neither response has anything to do with your intrinsic worth. Your healing becomes unshakable the moment you stop interpreting their behavior as a reflection of your value and start seeing it for what it is, a reflection of their internal emptiness. You're not the character they remember in their script. You're not the emotional supply they once fed upon. You're a sovereign being standing outside their psychological loop. If this understanding resonates with your experience and you're ready to delve deeper into the unconscious patterns that keep people trapped in these cycles, please subscribe to Psych Solace right now. Subscribe not just to a channel, but to the continued unfolding of your own awareness and freedom. The delusion of ownership. Now that you comprehend how they judge you in that first fraction of a second, we need to uncover the deeper delusion that lies beneath it. Even if you haven't spoken in years, they still believe something about you that is truly shocking. We must step into the mechanism that explains why, in their mind, you never actually left. Have you ever experienced the surreal shock of the narcissist reappearing in your life, perhaps after months or years of silence, acting as if absolutely nothing negative ever occurred? Maybe they sent a casual text message saying, "Hey, what's up?" Or perhaps they walked up to you with a smile that didn't reach their eyes, completely ignoring the devastation they left in their wake. It is a hallucinatory experience. In that moment, you might feel a wave of nausea or profound confusion. You want to scream, "Do you not remember the pain you caused? Do you not realize I walked away from you to save myself?" It feels incredibly invalidating. It makes you question your own grip on reality. But to protect your sanity, you must understand the mechanism behind this bizarre behavior. It is not merely arrogance. It is a structural defect in their psyche. Here is the hard truth you need to internalize. In their mind, you never left. In their mind, you still belong to them. The passage of time, the silence of no contact, and even your explicit rejection of them. None of these things register in their deep unconscious as a permanent separation. Why is this? Because their sense of ownership over you isn't based on love, commitment, or adult attachment. It is based on something much more primitive. Carl Jung had a specific term for this psychological state: participation mystique. It sounds complex, but think of it this way. When an infant is born, they do not know where their own body ends and their mother's body begins. They exist in a state of unconscious fusion. To the infant, the mother is not a separate person with her own rights, feelings, and dreams. She is simply an extension of the infant's needs. Healthy human beings grow out of this phase. We go through a process of individuation, learning that other people are separate, sovereign universes. But the narcissist never completed this process. Their psychological development was arrested. To them, you're not an independent person. You're a functional extension of their ego. Think of your own arm or leg. You don't ask your arm for permission to move it. You don't wonder if your leg has its own boundaries. You simply expect it to be there, ready to serve you when you need it. This is exactly how they view you. You are a limb they temporarily misplaced, or a possession that stopped working for a while. When they see you again, they don't think, "Oh, that's my ex-partner who I hurt." They think, "Oh, there is my arm. I can use it again." This is why they can re-engage with you so casually. The immense pain, the brutal discard, the silent treatment, these events are not stored in their memory as emotional traumas that hurt you. They are stored simply as moments where an object, you, was malfunctioning. They lack the capacity for what psychologists call whole object relations. This means they cannot hold the good and bad parts of a person in their mind simultaneously. They cannot see you as a complex human being who has both value and boundaries. In their mind, you are split. You are either the all-good object that serves them, or the all-bad object that frustrates them. When you left, or when they discarded you, you were the bad object. But now, if they see you looking healed and valuable, their mind simply resets. You instantly flip back to being the good object. The history of abuse is deleted from their immediate awareness because it is inconvenient. They genuinely believe they have the right to pick you up and put you down whenever they choose, just as a child believes they can pick up a toy they threw across the room yesterday. This entitlement comes from a deep archetype Jung called the puer aeternus, the eternal child. This is the part of the human psyche that refuses to grow up. It lives in a fantasy world without consequences, limits, or the recognition of others' reality. It wants what it wants, and it believes it has a divine right to it forever. So, when you encounter them, please realize you are not meeting a former partner who has reflected on their mistakes. You are encountering a static, frozen psychological structure. They cannot comprehend your independence because to them, your independence is an illusion. This is a chilling realization, but it is also your greatest power. If you know that their ownership is a delusion existing entirely within their own head, you stop fighting it. You realize you don't need to convince them that you are free. You just need to know that you are free. Their belief that you are a possession changes nothing about your reality as a sovereign being. The world of the narcissist is a closed loop, a prison of their own making. Knowing that you exist outside of that loop is your ultimate defense. I want you to take a moment right now to affirm your freedom. You are not a phantom limb. You're not a toy. You are a whole, separate creation. Let me know, and let yourself know, that you are grounded in your own reality. Leave a single word in the comments below, present. This is a signal to your own unconscious mind that you're no longer a character in their past, but you are fully inhabiting your own life, right here, right now. The 3 masks. Once you anchor yourself in the present, you're ready to face what happens next. Because the moment they see you, their mind doesn't just assume ownership, it reacts. Let's slow down and step into that precise, heart-stopping moment when you lock eyes with them. We need to analyze this because it is often the most confusing part of the entire experience. You might be standing there, your nervous system flooding with adrenaline, your fight or flight response screaming at you to run. You feel everything at once, but as you look at them, you notice something chilling. They don't seem to be feeling much at all. The very first second the narcissist sees you, they don't have a human reaction. They have a tactical one. Their mind snaps into a rapid unconscious scan. Imagine a thermal camera searching for heat, except they are scanning you for emotional heat. They are looking for one specific thing: access. They're reading your micro-expressions, your posture, and the energy you are projecting to answer a single question. Is the door still open? They are searching for signs of the complexes they installed in you. In Jungian psychology, a complex is like a sensitive emotional button. Throughout your relationship, they learned exactly how to push your buttons of guilt, fear, or longing. Now they are scanning to see if those buttons still function. If they see a flicker of sadness in your eyes, they know they still have a hook. If they see anger, they know they still matter to you. To them, even your anger is a form of intimacy because it means they still control your emotional state. Based on what this split-second scan tells them, they will instantly choose one of 3 masks to wear. I want you to listen closely to this so you do not get fooled again. 1. The mask of amnesia. If they sense you are vulnerable or confused, they might approach you with a warm smile, acting as if absolutely no time has passed. They might say, "It's so good to see you," with a terrifying level of normalcy. This is psychological warfare. They are deploying their persona, their social mask, to create a sense of cognitive dissonance in your brain. They want you to question your own memory. You might think, wait, was it really that bad? They seem so nice. Maybe I exaggerated the abuse. Please, do not fall for this. This is not friendliness. It is a test. They are testing to see if you will help them rewrite history. If you smile back, you have just agreed to the unspoken contract to pretend the abuse never happened. 2. The mask of contempt. This happens if they scan you and see that you are strong, healed, and indifferent. If you look amazing and unbothered, you become a mirror reflecting their failure. You remind them that they are not the center of the universe. This triggers their deep-seated inferiority. To handle this, they will look at you with cold, sneering contempt. They might look through you as if you are invisible, or look at you with utter disgust. It hurts to be looked at like you are garbage, I know, but here is the secret. That look isn't about you, it is a projection. They're projecting their own self-loathing onto you to get it out of their system. They have to make you small so they can feel big again. Their contempt is actually proof of your power. 3. The mask of avoidance. Sometimes they will simply run away. They might abruptly turn around, hide, or pretend to be frantically busy on their phone. You might interpret this as them rejecting you again. You might think, I'm not even worth a hello. But the truth is the opposite. The narcissistic ego is a house of cards. It is incredibly fragile. If they sense that you might reject them, if they think you might ignore them or expose them, they cannot handle the shame. They are terrified of public humiliation. So they avoid you not because you are worthless, but because you are dangerous to their delusion. They are protecting their fragile ego from the reality of your indifference. So whether they act like your best friend, look at you like dirt, or run away like a coward, remember this. None of it is real. It is not a spontaneous human emotion. It is a calculation. It is a move in a chess game that you are no longer playing. They are not reacting to you. They are reacting to their own fear of being irrelevant. Understanding this takes the sting out of their behavior. You don't need to analyze their look. You just need to recognize it for what it is, a desperate attempt to manage their own unstable reality. The decision to approach or retreat. So, you've locked eyes. The scan is complete. Now comes the action. This is the moment where you might find yourself holding your breath, wondering, will they come over? Will they speak to me? Or will they pretend I don't exist? It feels like a gamble, doesn't it? It feels like their decision depends on how good you look, or how much they miss you, or maybe just their mood that day. But I want to take the mystery out of this for you right now. Their decision to walk toward you or to turn away is not random. It is not emotional, and it is certainly not about love. It is a calculation. To understand this, You have to stop looking at this interaction through the lens of human connection and start looking at it through the lens of a business transaction. To the narcissist, you're not a person, you are an asset. And like any ruthless investor, they are asking one question. Is the return on investment high enough right now? If they decide to approach you, do not be flattered. I know that sounds harsh, but I say it to protect you. If they walk over, it is because their rapid assessment has concluded that you have something they desperately need. In the narcissistic world, we often call this supply. But let's look at it through Carl Jung's eyes to really understand the power dynamic. Jung spoke of libido not just as sexual energy, but as psychic life force, vitality, attention, and emotional intensity. The narcissist cannot generate this life force from within. They are like a car without an engine. They need to siphon gas from another vehicle to move. If you look happy, successful, and peaceful, you are a high-octane fuel source. They approach you because they want to hook into your light. They might think, if I stand next to this successful person, I look successful. If I can make this peaceful person smile at me, I am powerful. They need to borrow your light to cast a shadow just to prove they exist. But here is the trap. They don't just approach to get positive attention. Sometimes they approach to hurt you. Have you ever had them come up to you and make a backhanded compliment or ask a question that they know makes you insecure? They do this because your pain is also a form of energy. If they can say something that makes your face fall, or makes you stutter, or makes you angry, they get a rush of power. It proves they can still control your internal state. To a starving ego, your anger is just as nutritious as your love. It makes them feel like a god who can control the weather of your emotions. So if they talk to you, remember, they are not connecting, they are feeding. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin. What if they ignore you completely? This can be surprisingly painful. You might feel rejected all over again. You might think, am I not even worth a hello? Am I that invisible? If they turn away, it is usually for one of two reasons. The first reason is that they see you as depleted. If you look sad, broken, or desperate, they might view you as a bad object. In that moment, you are a dry well. They don't have the empathy to comfort you. They only have the instinct to survive. Interacting with your sadness would require energy they don't want to spend. So, they discard you in the moment, but there is a second reason they might avoid you. And this is the one I want you to really hear. They might avoid you because you are too strong. In Jungian psychology, the goal of healing is called individuation. This means becoming a whole, undivided self. An individuated person has solid boundaries. They know who they are. They trust their own reality. If you have done the hard work of healing, you have become individuated. You're no longer a screen for their projections. You're no longer a puppet they can manipulate. When a narcissist looks at a healed, strong person, they feel threatened. They sense on a primal level that their old tricks won't work. They know that if they try to manipulate you, you will just look at them with calm indifference. You won't give them the fuel they need. To them, you are now useless, in the best possible way. You are dangerous to their fragile ego because you see the truth. So if they cross the street to avoid you, or if they bury their face in their phone, do not take it as a rejection. Take it as the highest form of compliment. It means your boundaries are visible. It means your light is too bright for a creature of the shadows. It means you have become a bad victim. Their silence is not an insult. It is a testament to your strength. Whether they approach or retreat, the takeaway is the same. Their action is about their hunger, not your worth. They are simply a predator deciding whether it is safe to hunt or time to hide. Understanding this breaks the spell. You stop waiting for them to validate you, and you realize that you have already validated yourself by surviving them. If you've ever felt that sting of being ignored or the confusion of being approached again, I want you to know you are not alone. We have all stood in that confusing space. If you're brave enough, share a part of your experience in the comments. Did they try to hoover you back in, or did they run away? Your story helps others realize that this behavior is a pattern, not a personal failure. The strategy of indifference. Now that we know why they make their move, we have to talk about your move, because when they are standing in front of you, you only have seconds to react. Imagine for a moment that you turn a corner, look up, and there they are. Just like that, the person who caused you so much pain is standing right in front of you. Your stomach drops and your heart starts hammering against your ribs. So what do? This is the moment where most people stumble, not because they aren't strong, but because they're human. Your instinct, trained from childhood, is to be polite. When someone smiles, you smile back. When someone asks a question, you answer. Your body wants to either smooth things over or run away. But I need you to listen to me very closely. The rules of being nice do not apply here. When you are standing in front of a narcissist, you're not in a normal social interaction. You're in a psychological standoff. If you react with your habitual politeness, you're handing them a weapon. If you show them your emotions, you're handing them your power. You need a strategy that is surgical. You need to cut off the energy supply to a dynamic that has drained you for too long. Let's walk through this together, starting with the most powerful channel of energy you possess, your eyes. Eye contact is intimate. In our culture, it is a sign of respect. It says, I see you and I acknowledge you. But with a narcissist, eye contact is not connection. It is a doorway. When you look them in the eye, you're giving them the first hit of dopamine they're craving. You're validating their existence. So your first move is a quiet internal command to yourself. Do not engage the eyes. I don't mean you should look down at your feet like a scolded child, because that signals submission. And I don't mean you should squeeze your eyes shut, because that signals fear. I want you to look past them, look through them, look at the space around them. If you accidentally catch their eye, move your gaze away immediately and smoothly, as if you just scanned a piece of furniture. You're communicating something profound here, without saying a single word. You're saying, I withdraw my consent to see you. You're no longer the main character in my movie. You're just part of the background noise. This simple act stops the energetic transfer before it even begins. The next thing you need to consider is your physical presence. If it is at all possible, if you're in a store, on a street, or at a party, your best move is to simply leave. I know that inner voice might be whispering to you right now. It is saying, but that looks so weak. If I leave, they will think I am scared. I should stay and show them I am unbothered. Please silence that voice. That is your ego talking, not your wisdom. Leaving is not an act of running away. It is an act of sovereignty. It is the ultimate statement of value. By turning your back and walking away, you are voting with your feet. You are saying, my peace is more important than this interaction. My safety is more important than your opinion. Think about how many times in the past you stayed in conversations that hurt you just to keep the peace. Every time you did that, you abandoned yourself. By physically removing yourself now, you are proving to yourself that you will never abandon you again. But life is messy. Sometimes you cannot leave. You might be trapped in an elevator or at a mandatory work event. You are stuck in the proximity. If they speak to you, how do you respond? This is where you need to become what I call an unreadable text. The narcissist is a data miner. Everything you say is data to them. If you talk about your new job, they will find a way to sabotage it. If you talk about your struggles, they will use it to mock you. If you try to explain your feelings, they will gaslight you. So, you stop giving them data. If they ask a question, your answer should be factual, dry, and incredibly short. If they ask how you have been, you just say, fine. If they look at you with those sad eyes and say they miss you, you just say, I see. Notice what is missing here. No questions back. You don't ask how they are. You don't ask why they're asking. You provide no emotional colouring. You're providing 2 or 3 words where you used to provide paragraphs. You're becoming as boring as a grey rock. There is nothing for them to grab onto. No hooks, no drama. This is incredibly frustrating for them. They're trying to play a game of emotional tennis with you, and you're refusing to pick up the racket. Eventually, they will get bored and walk away. This brings us to the hardest discipline of all. This is the core of the strategy. You must withhold all emotional reactions, and when I say all, I mean the bad ones too, especially the bad ones. Many survivors make a fatal mistake here. They think, I won't be nice. I will show them how angry I am. I will let them know I hate them. I understand that urge. You have every right to be angry. But you must understand how the narcissistic machine works. To them, anger equals passion. Hate equals obsession. Even your coldness, if it is performative, equals effort. If you glare at them with hatred, you're telling them that they still have the power to control your emotions. Your anger is high-grade fuel. It makes them feel powerful. It proves they are still under your skin. On the flip side, if you're polite or nervous, you are giving them hope. You're telling them, I am still open to manipulation. The only thing that starves them is indifference. You want to aim for the emotional temperature of a stranger you pass on the subway. Bland, routine, uninterested. You're not angry, you're just done. You're not hurt, you're just absent. Let's try to visualize this together so you can feel ready when it happens. Imagine you're at the grocery store. You turn the aisle and there they are. They spot you. They smile, that charming fake smile, and start walking toward you. Your heart hammers, but this time you have a plan. First, the eyes. You don't lock eyes. You look briefly at their shoulder, then back to the item on the shelf. You're acknowledging a physical object, not a person. Second, the body. You keep your body turned away, angling toward the exit. You're signaling that you are already leaving. Third, the voice. They say something like, wow, it's been so long. You look great. We should grab coffee. You don't explain why you can't. You don't get angry. You simply say in a flat tone, no, that won't work for me. Fourth, the emotion. You display zero anxiety, zero anger, just a calm statement of fact. And finally, the exit. You move your feet. You say, I have to go, and you walk away. That interaction might last 15 seconds, but in those 15 seconds, you have won a massive victory. You didn't give them a fight. You didn't give them a friend. You gave them nothing. By doing this, you are communicating the most painful truth a narcissist can ever hear. You are telling them they are irrelevant. You are not trying to punish them. You are demonstrating that they no longer hold any currency in your economy. They are bankrupt in your world. This strategy requires practice, but every time you execute this, you are reclaiming a piece of your soul. You are proving to yourself that you are the authority of your own inner world. You are no longer a leaf blowing in their wind. You are the tree, rooted and unshakable, the aftershock navigating the storm. But I have to be honest with you about what happens next. While you are executing this perfectly on the outside, a storm will likely be raging on the inside. As soon as you walk away, the aftershock is going to hit you. It is going to come in waves, and if you aren't ready for it, it can knock you down. We need to talk about those shock waves. We need to prepare you for the crash that comes after the victory, and how to handle it with the same grace you just showed the world. So, you did it. You saw them. You survived the interaction. You managed to keep your face neutral. You held your ground and you walked away. But now the encounter is over. The car door has closed, or you've stepped back into the safety of your own home. The silence returns, and this is the moment where the real work begins. Because the hardest part of seeing a narcissist isn't necessarily what happens during the conversation. The hardest part is the shock wave that hits you the moment the adrenaline leaves your body. I want to talk about this because nobody warns you about the afterburn. You might find yourself sitting in your car shaking uncontrollably. You might feel a sudden urge to vomit. Or most confusing of all, you might burst into tears. Tears that feel heavy, ancient and overwhelming. And in that moment of vulnerability, a terrible thought might creep into your mind. You might think, I failed. I thought I was healed. I thought I was over this. Why am I falling apart? Does this mean they still own me? I need you to listen to me, and I need you to believe me. You have not failed. What is happening to you right now is not weakness. It is not regression. It is a biological and psychological release. It is simply your body and your mind processing a threat that they have been holding on to for a very long time. To navigate this storm, we need to slow down. We need to pull apart this ball of chaos and look at the 3 distinct layers of shock you are experiencing. By naming them, we take away their power to frighten you. Layer 1. The cognitive echo. The war in your mind. The first thing that hits you is a profound sense of confusion. We call this the cognitive echo. It feels like psychological vertigo. The room feels like it's spinning. And here is why. Your brain is trying to reconcile 2 completely opposing realities at the exact same time. On one hand, you have your validated truth. You know who this person is. You know the abuse, the lies, the manipulation, and the sleepless nights. You've spent months, maybe years, building a fortress of truth to protect yourself. But on the other hand, you just saw them. And what did you see? You saw a person who looked normal. Maybe they looked good. Maybe they were smiling. Maybe they spoke to you with a voice that sounded like the person you used to love. This creates a glitch in your matrix. Your eyes are saying, look, they are harmless. They're just a normal person. But your memory is screaming, danger, predator, monster. This clash creates a dissonance that can make you feel like you are losing your mind. It makes you gaslight yourself. You start asking dangerous questions. Did I make it all up? Was I too sensitive? They seem so fine. Maybe I was the problem. This is the trap. The narcissist's ability to act normal is not proof of their innocence. It is proof of their pathology. Their performance of normalcy is just that, a performance. So how do you stop the spinning? You must actively anchor yourself in your truth. You have to speak to yourself out loud if necessary. You say, my memory is real. The pain was real. What I just saw was a mask. I will not let a 5-minute performance erase 5 years of truth. You have to choose your own reality over the illusion they just presented. Layer 2, the somatic echo, the body remembers. Once the mental spinning slows down, You will likely feel the second layer. This is the somatic echo. This is the body's memory. As the book says, the body keeps the score. Your conscious mind knows you are safe now. You know you are in your car or your house and they are gone. But your nervous system, it doesn't know what year it is. To your amygdala, the ancient alarm bell in your brain, seeing that person just transported you back to the most dangerous moments of your relationship. Your body thinks it is back in the war zone. That is why your hands are shaking. That is why your chest feels tight, like an elephant is sitting on it. That is why your breathing is shallow and fast. Your body has flooded you with cortisol and adrenaline to prepare you to fight for your life or run for the hills. This is not an emotional reaction. It is a physiological one. You cannot think your way out of this. You have to feel your way out. Do not try to ignore the shaking. Do not try to force yourself to stop. Instead, I want you to give your body permission to release the energy. If you need to shake, shake. If you need to scream into a pillow, do it. Then you must take control of the one thing you can regulate, your breath. I want you to try this with me right now, or remember it for when the shock hits. It is the 4-7-8 technique. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Feel your lungs expand. Hold that breath for a count of 7. Let the oxygen sit in your blood. And now exhale forcefully through your mouth for a count of 8. Make a whooshing sound. Do this 4 times. This specific rhythm sends a signal directly to your vagus nerve. It tells your heart to slow down. It tells your brain, the tiger is gone. We are safe now. Then look around you. Touch the steering wheel. Touch the fabric of your couch. Name 5 blue things you can see. Name 4 things you can hear. Pull your mind out of the past and force it to land right here in the present moment. Layer 3, the grief echo, mourning the ghost. Now comes the part that surprises people the most. After the confusion clears and after the shaking stops, you might feel a tidal wave of sadness. This is the grief echo, and this is where shame often creeps in. You might be furious with yourself. You might think, I hate them, they destroyed me. Why am I crying? Do I still love them? Am I weak? Please be gentle with your heart. You are not crying for them. You're not crying for the abuser who stands before you. You're crying for the ghost. Seeing them again rips the scab off a very deep wound, the wound of what could have been. You are grieving the dream. You are grieving the future you once imagined with them, the holidays, the growing old together, the shared life that you invested so much of your soul into. Even though you know it was a lie, the hope you felt was real. And seeing them reminds you that the hope is dead. You're also grieving for the younger version of yourself, the person you were before they broke you. Seeing them is like looking at the scene of a crime and realizing that the victim was your own innocence. You are mourning the time you lost, the love you gave that was thrown away, and the betrayal of your own trust. This sadness is not a sign that you want them back. It is a sign that you are finally processing the magnitude of the loss in the relationship. You couldn't grieve before. You were too busy surviving. You were too busy managing their moods, walking on eggshells and trying to fix things. Now that you are free, and now that the shock of seeing them has cracked you open, the grief finally has space to come out. So, let it come. Do not bottle it up. Do not judge your tears. These tears are liquid prayers for your own healing. They are washing away the last debris of the trauma. Say to yourself, I am not crying because I miss them. I am crying because I miss the person I was. I am honoring my own heart that loved so deeply, even if it was loved by the wrong person, from shock to sovereignty. When you move through these 3 layers, when you anchor your mind, calm your body, and release your grief, something incredible happens on the other side. The storm clears, and in its place you will find a new, quiet clarity. You will realize that you survived the thing you feared the most. You faced the ghost, and you didn't crumble. You faced the monster, and you saw that they are just a small, broken person. The shock you feel is not a setback. It is actually the final stage of the exorcism. It is the last bit of their poison leaving your system. So tonight, if you are feeling fragile, wrap yourself in a warm blanket. Drink some tea. Be kind to yourself. Treat yourself like you would treat a beloved child who just had a scary nightmare. You are safe. You are real. And you are free. The encounter is over. The shock is just the echo fading away. And now that the noise is gone, we have to make sure you don't get stuck looking backward. We have to pivot. We have to take all this energy, all this emotion that has been stirred up, and we have to channel it into the only thing that matters. The final graduation, individuation. Now that the shaking has stopped and the immediate shock of the encounter is beginning to fade, you're left standing at a crossroads. This is a very dangerous and very important moment. The danger does not come from the narcissist anymore. They are gone. The danger comes from your own mind. In the silence that follows, you might feel a powerful magnetic pull to go backward. You might find yourself replaying the interaction over and over again, like a movie reel you cannot turn off. You might analyze every word they said, every look they gave you. You might ask yourself, what were they thinking? Did they look happy? Did they really mean it when they said I look good? Or maybe you start worrying, was I too cold? Did I make them angry? What will they tell people about me? I need you to stop. I need you to visualize a pair of scissors in your hand, and I need you to cut that film reel right now. This mental obsession, this rumination, is a trap. It is your old addiction trying to resurface. For a long time, your survival depended on reading their mind. You had to be a detective in your own home just to stay safe. But you are not in that home anymore, and you are not that detective anymore. The encounter you just had is not the main event of your life. It is a distraction. It is a ghost from the past trying to haunt your present, and the only way to banish a ghost is to stop feeding it your attention. So here is your new directive. It is absolute, and it is non-negotiable. You must take every ounce of that psychic energy you are currently wasting on them, and you must violently redirect it back onto yourself. First, let's deal with the guilt. If you followed the advice in this video, you were likely cold, brief, and distant. And if you are an empathetic person, a part of you might feel bad about that. You might think, that was rude. I am not a rude person. I should have been nicer. Let me absolve you of that guilt right now. Respect is a reciprocal act. It is a contract between two people who view each other as human beings. The narcissist, by their very psychological nature, does not see you as a human being. They see you as an appliance. To offer respect and warmth to a narcissist is like pouring expensive wine into a bottomless pit. It is a waste of your spirit. Your coldness was not an act of cruelty. It was an act of self-preservation. You do not owe an abuser your kindness. You do not owe a manipulator your polite smile. Your only sacred duty is to protect the peace you have fought so hard to build. So let the guilt go. It does not belong to you. Now, let's talk about what comes next. This encounter, as painful as it was, serves a purpose. In Jungian psychology, we believe that nothing happens by accident. This pain is not here to punish you. It is here to wake you up. Think of this encounter as a final exam. It was a test to see if you're ready to graduate from the school of your past. Did you notice something different this time? Maybe in the past, you would have begged for their attention. Maybe you would have crumbled. But this time, even if you were scared, you stood your ground. Even if you are shaking now, you didn't hand over your power. That is evidence. That is proof that the old version of you, the victim, is dying, and a new version of you is being born. This new phase of your life requires a new practice. It is the practice of siding with reality. For years you were gaslighted. You were told that your reality was wrong, that your feelings were crazy, that your perception couldn't be trusted. The ultimate healing is to reverse that curse. From this moment on, you must commit to a radical loyalty to yourself. If you feel sad, you don't judge it. You say, I am sad and that is valid. If you feel angry, you don't suppress it. You say, I am angry and my anger is protecting me. If you remember the abuse, you don't minimize it. You say, that happened and it was wrong. You become the validation you always wanted from them. You stop looking for a witness to your life, and you become the witness. This is what Carl Jung called individuation. It is the process of becoming a whole, undivided self. It means you stop being a supporting character in their chaotic drama, and you finally step into the role of the protagonist in your own story. This shifts how you live your daily life. Self-care is no longer a luxury. It is a discipline. It is a rigorous commitment to treating yourself with the love they never gave you. It means you eat well, not to look good for someone else, but because your body deserves fuel. It means you rest, not because you are lazy, but because your nervous system needs to repair. It means you set boundaries, not to be mean, but because your energy is a holy space that not everyone is allowed to enter. Every time you choose yourself, you are driving a stake into the heart of the narcissist's influence. You're proving that they no longer hold the remote control to your life. I want you to look at your life right now. Look at the freedom you have. Yes, it might feel lonely sometimes, but do not mistake solitude for loneliness. Loneliness is the poverty of the self. Solitude is the richness of the self. You are in a period of solitude because you are rebuilding your foundation. You're taking back the pieces of your soul that you gave away to them. You're reclaiming your confidence, your joy, your hobbies, and your peace. The narcissist is stuck in a loop. They will repeat the same cycle of idealization and devaluation forever, moving from person to person, never growing, never changing, always empty. But you are on a spiral. You are moving up. You are learning. You are growing. The pain you feel is the growing pain of expanding into a larger life. So don't look back at them. There is nothing back there but a mirage. Keep your eyes facing forward. This encounter was not a setback. It was a confirmation. It was the universe showing you exactly who they are so you could finally see exactly who you are. You're not a victim anymore. You are a creator. You are the author of the next chapter, and I promise you, this next chapter is going to be the best one yet. Because for the first time in a long time, it is entirely yours to write. The true victory over a narcissist isn't when you stop loving them, or even when you stop hating them. It is when you can stand in front of them, see them exactly as they are, and feel nothing but a quiet, unshakable peace. That encounter you were so afraid of, it wasn't a test of your weakness, it was the final proof of your strength. It showed you that the safety and validation you spent years begging for is something you can now give to yourself. You haven't just survived a battle, you have finally come home to yourself, and I promise you, the view from here is beautiful. Your journey toward complete psychological sovereignty has only just begun. To continue building this new, powerful version of yourself, watch the next video on Psych Solace. I will see you there.